this is one of the most barbaric, evil administrations, and this is essentially the standard, because I don't want to put Biden on like a uniquely evil pedestal, because this is the position of the establishment. But if we're just going to analyze administrations, the Biden administration is absolutely deplorable. We have this bombshell story where you have staffers quitting en masse. The most recent one was explaining how Joe Biden didn't even view Palestinians as human. If you look at their policies, you have a lot of workers from USAID, and you have these people that work in humanitarian aid that are quitting en masse because they're explaining to people that the Biden administration is lying about Israel letting aid through. And then there's one of the people who quit, and I have a hotspot. I have a segment I'm gonna do. I'm gonna explain this later. One of the people that quit was being disciplined because she was compiling a list of Palestinians that was murdered by Israeli war crimes. So then the Biden administration reprimanded them because of that. So the Biden administration is punishing people in the government that want to compile a list of war crimes that would directly implicate the Biden administration in the French Israel. It's literally the most evil shit we've seen. Between that and their constant lying, reaffirming Israeli propaganda and hoax, saying that UNRWA was a chapter and it was helping Hamas during October 7th. And then every single investigation since then disproved that fact. Remember, Biden directly said that he's seen evidence that UNRWA is Hamas. That was proven false. You have Biden that came out in front. Remember when Shereen Abdul-Akleh was killed? This is even before the genocide. You guys know I've been covering this for a while. I'm starting to blend all these things together. Like, Biden is tied to the hip with Netanyahu. And now we have that barbaric slaughter in Rafah that had the United States weapons that was sold to Israel. And we explained on RBN the bullshit that was telling you guys how Biden have these red lines on Rafah. The narrative, because Biden is an unhinged war criminal, one of the most psychopathic individuals that we've seen, enabling genocide, literally to the point where his staff is quitting en masse. There's a poll from Gallup that I'm going to see if I can pull up if I have time, that show you that the majority of Americans are against Israel policy in Gaza. You have Biden that is willing to tank an election to a guy that they say is a threat to democracy. Why? Because they refuse to change their Israel policy. You have the people on the right, Republicans, they support Israel around 70% in the most recent Gallup polls. So you would think that if you was as pro-Israel as Biden, you would be a Republican, that would be your base. No, Biden is willing to sacrifice it all because there's people in the streets. There are Jewish Democrats that are speaking out against this. His party is revolting en masse regarding his policies. You have even Democratic Congress people who will never say a peep negative about Biden that is now speaking out against him aggressively. Rashid Tlaib has been pretty aggressive in a few speeches I've seen, where she said that Biden's going to pay in November. She's not as strong. No, don't get me wrong, guys. Don't get me wrong. She's not as strong as we would like. She's not as strong as I would be. She's not as strong as we want her to be, but she's been stronger than she's been before because of the policies on Gaza. So what do Biden do in the face of this mass dissent? You see the true fascist, authoritarian nature of our country. See, no one can define authoritarian except me, except RBN. It's when you have government that is working without the mandate of the people, my friends. There's a short sentence you can use to sum it up, which is why it's ridiculous to call Cuba, Russia, and China countries that are authoritarian when they got a mandate that is given by the people, by revolution. Meanwhile, in the United States, you have Congress with 17% approval rating. The people hate our government. Despite what the American people want, the government does not do it. That is the textbook definition of authoritarianism. It's not communism. You brainwashed sheep in America. It's not communism. It's a government without the mandate of the people. And the Biden, their mandate is, they are going so against the grain of the people. You have their own staff that is quitting. I kind of skipped ahead because this is what I'm about to cover. And the testimony that you are hearing when you read this article is mind-blowing. Like, you have everyone on Twitter that is like breaking down this article, like, wait, they stopped one of the employees in the government from compiling a list of Palestinians that was victims of war crimes? Hold up, whoa. When you look at what the Biden administration is actively doing, when you see what one of the people that was a whistleblower who quit, what they said is that the Biden administration has a plan and they are actively lying about aid that is being led into Gaza by Israel. And we covered it on the show where the Biden administration said, "Oh, Israel letting aid in." Citation needed. This is easily disprovable because there was a pier that was just destroyed that cost hundreds of millions of dollars. If Israel is letting aid in, why would you need to build a pier? If Israel is letting aid in, why would you need to airdrop aid to get into Gaza instead of just letting it go into the ports of entry? So Biden and his insane administration has been openly lying to us to the point where there are people in their administration, and these people are not saints, as far as I'm concerned. They went through the Ukraine war. They climbed through the corporate, the American political system. These people are not angels. These are just people that, man, we've seen enough. One of the people from USA, we all know USA is an imperialist front, but we can acknowledge their humanity at the same time. That, yeah, these people may have sold out to some degree, like, but it's gone too far for their humanity, which is good that there's a limit for those people. Yeah, I understand, and I see you in the comments now. They're liberals, absolutely, but what does that say? What does that say about the Biden administration? That even liberals are being forced to quit their positions because the fascism we're seeing now, the Biden administration is so insane. So I say all this to show you guys this, because you guys see the headlines that I kind of did beforehand, where the narrative coming from the establishment and liberals that are currently in full cult mode, liberals will realize that Biden and the Democratic Party is screwed because the rank authoritarian fascist ideology of the Democratic Party has been exposed. So the narrative is, come on, man, we know Netanyahu is out of control, but there's nothing that Biden can do about it. As you see with the headline that I've already had on the screen for some time, Biden confronts the limits of U.S. leverage in 2 conflicts. Here's another one. And you can find so many of these. I just pulled up like the first few that popped up. The limits of U.S. influence over Israel. Absolute nonsense. For one, Biden is providing diplomatic cover, not only the weapons, which many IDF soldiers, many Israeli politicians say that they wouldn't be able to defend themselves without United States weapons. This war in Gaza would be unsustainable. Their colonial project is unsustainable without U.S. weapons. Hamas can't be defeated. They can't crush their colonial. They can't defeat their anti-colonial uprising without never-ending shipments of weapons. But not only that, and that's obviously the most important part, but the diplomatic immunity, the threat to the ICC. Imagine in a parallel universe, instead of threatening to sanction the ICC, you have the United States that prop up and uphold the ICC and go as hard for the ICC and international law as they do for Israel. I know that's ridiculous to say, but in an alternate reality, the settler colonial project of Israel does not exist if the United States does this stuff. Because all over the world, they want to get rid of Israel. They can't say it. But the global majority has been done with Israel. They just can't do anything because they know they have United States veto power, and they know the United States will flip out and start World War III if anyone touched their colonial project. All this is why these narratives come from liberals, and this guy is among the dumbest. Like, I got hundreds of likes just saying that this guy is one of the dumbest on Twitter, because he is. But he just one among many black liberals, where a friend of the show, holding Biden accountable, put Biden left. They got a great account that calls out Biden, where he says, I have a genuine question for a few that still defend Biden. What would it take for you to change your mind? Nothing. If this isn't bad enough, what would be? Where will you draw the line? This is the question I've been asking for years, even before the genocide in Gaza. This is the question I ask all the social democrats and the Bernie people. Where's the line? At what point do you guys, oh my God, we got to stop the Republicans, as you guys are literally propping up a party, getting everything that the Republicans would dream of accomplishing? Like, if you wanted to, even before the genocide, if you wanted to vote for crime bill, Jim Crow Joe, the highest funded AIPAC elected politician alive today, if you would want to vote for Joe Biden in 2020, you clearly didn't have a line. This is the argument that I was making aggressively that led to the divorce with me and the Bernie left. But I am glad that so many people are starting to realize that this line should exist. You know, people like Crystal Ball, who was the biggest Biden show ever before she made a face turn, who a lot of people give her praise for her Gaza coverage. She has done good Gaza segments, but do you guys remember, Crystal Ball was telling third-party voters to grow up. Support Marianne Williamson and support the Democrat Party, or you're a child, you need to grow up. I'm glad those people realized where they was wrong. Because if you don't have a red line on genocide, and what the argument I've been making for years, if you don't have the red line over the support of the military-industrial complex and the settler colonial project known as Israel, where did your value start and end? And Gabriel, I appreciate you joining me. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. I'm going to introduce you here very soon. And this person, and this is the narrative that coming from the liberal class, which I am dismantling during the intro of the show. Look at this person. This framing is insane to me because Biden literally hasn't done anything. Why is a war between two groups of people on the other side of the world Biden's fault? You guys see the narrative that the Democrat sycophants, the Biden supporters are picking up on that come directly from the corporate media? Because at this point, they know Biden's not going to change. He about to supply weapons to Israel to the election. He's all in. Trump, who is a threat to democracy, they say, they wanted to tank it all for Israel. So at this point, they know it's not going to change. So they try to make the argument that, hey, man, what do you guys think that Biden can do about this? Come on, man, be realistic.